Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Sasuke Dragon, and here is my deck profile on my Dino Rabbit deck that I used at my local competition on Saturday. So please rate and subscribe, and please comment below on what you would change in this deck, if any changes should need to be made, and please write them below. So first of all, we have 3 rescue rabbits. Now the rescue rabbits are one of the main engines of the deck. You summon the rescue rabbit, you banish it, and bring 2 normal monsters from your deck with exactly the same name. So you would summon the rescue rabbit, banish it, bring 2 Cabalsaurs or 2 Sabersaurus from your deck. Then you execute with them to bring out Evelzar Lugia. Then of course we have 3 tour guides, which is another main engine of the deck, plus the Sangan. So you'd summon a tour guide, then you special summon the Sangan from your deck, then you'd go into either a Levier, or you could go into a Leviathan Dragon, depending on what type of move you were trying to make. So there's 2 engines of the deck so far. Then we go on to the 3 Cabalsaurs. Now running the 3 is a hell of a lot better, because if you draw one into your hand and you have a rescue rabbit, you can always use the rescue rabbit because you have 2 left in the deck. And it gives you more of an opportunity to only draw 1. If you only run 2, then if you draw both of them, then rescue rabbit is completely redundant. Also the same with the 3 Sabersaurus. Then we go on to a bit more tech of the deck. 2 Thunder Kings. Now a lot of the times when I use Thunder Kings, it stopped a lot of plays. It stopped the opponents from special summoning, and it stopped them adding extra cards to the hand. So these two cards were brilliant. Then you have 2 Effect Veilers. Now 2 Effect Veilers I run instead of 3, because a lot of the time you're always exceeding and bringing in that rescue rabbit and recycling that. And this stops the opponent basically bringing any nasty monsters to the field with nasty effects. So if they have like a Caius or something else that's really bad, you just go drop Effect Veiler, and then that stops their effect for that turn. And even if they try and tribute summon for a monster that has an effect, like for example the Monarchs, you can negate that activation straight away. We have 1 BLS. Well, since it's off the ban list, you might as well use it, and there's a lot of light and dark monsters in the deck, so why not use it? Then you have 1 Gauze, just in case you have nothing in your hand at all except Gauze, and they take it directly. You can drop a Beat Stick and have a token as well. And then of course my bit of tech is 1 Trag, because using Trag as well as Gauze, because you never know, sometimes the opponent can spark off incredibly quickly, and if you don't have the appropriate cards in your hand at the time, this card will certainly stop the opponent from doing much at all and defend you for a turn. Plus you can also use it for an Exceed as well. You can manipulate its level as well, so it has 2 bonuses to it. Okay, now we're going to go on to the spells. We run 3 Pot of Dualities. These Pot of Dualities help me a lot of times to draw certain cards that I needed straight away. This is just another engine added to the deck, because you get to see the 3 cards from your deck, and you basically get to select 1, so it helps out a lot. Then of course we run 3 MSTs. A lot of people say run 2 MSTs, but I found running 3 MSTs was extremely better than running just 2, because a lot of the time the opponent had a hefty back row and I didn't have a Storm in hand, but I had two MSTs in hand, so if I picked off the right one, like a Starlight Road, then I could just go Storm if I had one. And a lot of the times MST helped out more than Heavy Storm did. Then of course we have another engine of the deck, which is 3 Gold Sarcophagus. Now this card helped out considerably to banish things like Dark Hole, Pot of Avarice, Rescue Rabbit, and of course Tour Guide. In conjunction bringing out Levier, this makes it even easier. Activate the Gold Sarcophagus, and then basically use Levier's effect to bring back the banished card and bring it to the field. For instance, if it's a Rescue Rabbit or a Tour Guide. Then we run 1 Pot of Avarice, pretty standard. 1 Mind Control. Heavy Storm is a staple, of course. Monster Reborn, staple. and a Dark Hole staple. Then we go on to the traps. Now there's been a lot of different traps that you can use for this deck, but I've gone for a full frontal attack, to be honest. So I run 2 Solemn Warnings, and of course Solemn Judgment to make the Solemn Brigade. I may actually take out Solemn Judgment and change it for Dark Bribe, because paying half your life points sometimes is not good. I used it once or twice and gave up half of my life points to stop dark holes and certain things like that. But it's not always a good idea, because your opponent could give you a bluff and you activate Solemn Warning and it can screw you over and you can lose the duel even quicker than it begun. Then I run 1 Mirror Force, which is a staple, 1 Torrential, which is a staple, 2 Dimensional Prisons. Now I run these sometimes over Compulse. Sometimes Compulse is a good idea if the opponent's got a heavy storm, so you can chain Compulsory, but a lot of the times when I was setting D prisons, a lot of the time the opponents didn't understand what I was doing. So as soon as they attacked, I'd have a D prison, and a lot of good monsters got banished from the field. No, we have to use banished, we can't use removed from play because it's not technical anymore. And then of course I run 2 Bottomless, which is completely stable and standard. The reason I used Bottomless and a lot of Warnings together is because it makes the deck more consistent. Because if you don't have one in your hand, you have the other. The only downside is if someone has a Stardust, you can't use Bottomless. But a lot of the times, the opponents did not summon out a Stardust, which thankfully I was pretty happy with. Right, then of course we go on to the extra deck, where we have, of course, these cards. 3 Evelzar Lugias. Now this is like a Solemn Judgment on legs. When a monster that would be normal summoned or special summoned, or a spell or trap card is activated, you can detach 2 Exceed materials from this card and negate the summon of the card or activation and destroy that card. So this card is really brilliant. Okay, granted it uses 2 of its Exceed material monsters, and it can only be used once, but once is enough. I managed to get 2 of these out in on the same turn, and I kind of balled my opponent up straight away. So this card is exceptionally good. Then of course you've got his brother, Evelzar Dalka. I brought out Evelzar Dalka once or twice, but it didn't do a lot, to be honest. A lot of the times the opponents I went against were just trying to blow up the field with a heavy storm or dark hole the field. So only certain people I did go against when they started bringing out a lot of monsters I couldn't bring out Evelzar Dalka, but when I did bring out, it did help out a lot. Then of course there is 2 number 39 Utopias. I didn't use these in the duel, but just in case your opponent's beating you down, you can exceed into a rank 4 like number 39 Utopia instead of something like Evelzar Dalka or Lugia. And of course the last 2 is a Levier, of course, in conjunction with Tour Guide, because it's easy to bring up because of rank 3, and of course using Gold Sarcophagus. So if the conjunction with these 2, you activate Gold Sarcophagus, bring out Levier, detach an Exceed material monster, bring back that banished monster, and then synchro there. 9 times out of 10 I used Gold Sarc to banish the Rescue Rabbit, use Levier, bring back the Rescue Rabbit, banish the Rescue Rabbit again, and then bring 2 Cubbersaurs to the field, or Sabersaurus, and then exceed it into Evelzar Lugia or Evelzar Dalka. And of course the last one off the deck is number 17 Leviathan Dragon. A lot of the times I already used Levier and I didn't have anything else to exceed into, so I used number 17 Leviathan Dragon. This card helped me a lot in a few duels. It stopped a lot of the opponent doing anything as soon as I kept detaching its Exceed material monsters. So this card was very, very interesting to have. So, there you have it. There is the build. Now, of course, as I said at the beginning of the video, if there is anything that you think I could make better with the deck, or change, please put underneath what you think. And this is Mr. Sasuke Dragon, and I'm signing out.